Hi, I'm Patrick, and today we're talking about Zazen and how to do it. Meditation isn't just for Buddhas or monks, it's for everybody and can be done at almost any time. So let's get started. When you sit, you're going to want to elevate your pelvis. The most useful thing for this is something like a zafu. Here's a round Japanese shape, but almost anything will work. A pillow folded in half or a rolled up blanket is just as good. Don't let not having a zafu keep you from starting your meditation. As you sit, you want to have as stable a base as possible. This cross-legged pose, for example, might be comfortable at first, but it's not as stable, and after a few minutes, your legs will fall asleep and it'll become uncomfortable. A much better choice is something like this, Burmese sitting. You can see the base is much wider. This one is accessible for almost all people, and it's pretty comfortable. Another choice is half lotus. This is a great posture, just be sure to do both sides or you'll get a hip imbalance over time. And finally, classic full lotus posture. Don't force yourself into any of these poses. They're not crucial to Zazen. You can do Zazen sitting in a chair, standing on the subway. These just are some helpful classic styles. Now that we have our base, let's move on to the hands. In classic Japanese style, the dominant hand is on bottom, the other hand on top. The thumbs lightly come together to make kind of an egg shape. These thumbs can be a mindfulness indicator. If you're squishing them together strongly, there's too much energy in the meditation. If they're falling open, it's a little bit lazy and sleepy. Just keep them lightly, barely touching. The most important physical component of meditation is the spine. Often after a few minutes, people will start to look like this, with a curved, slumped spine. This will make your meditation dull and listless. On the other end of the spectrum, I see a lot of people, especially tough dudes, trying to look like this, ramrod straight. This is completely wrong. It's the wrong muscles. If you want to sit straight, you have to use your inner muscles, your core, not the surface muscles of your shoulder and chest. Also, don't lean too far forward or too far back. A tall, relaxed spine sitting squarely on the pelvis will give you more mental clarity than any kind of chanting or visualization ever could. I promise. Another thing to look out for is the shoulders. After a few minutes, you might find your shoulders rising up towards the ears, filling with tension. This is natural, it happens to everybody. If you notice your shoulders are tense, just exhale and let them fall open. Let the chest relax, come back to the stable center line, keeping your focus on the belly or the tip of the nose. I really enjoy the Soto style of sitting facing the wall. In this way, your eyes have something to look at without getting distracted. You may feel tempted to close the eyes, but when you close the eyes, it's easy to fall into dreamland and lose the present moment. Zazen can be done from anywhere between 15 minutes and 1 hour. If you're just starting, keep the time short. It's a very deep practice. Don't go overboard. The idea of Zazen is to have a clear, empty mind without chattering thought. But if you're like most people, something like this will happen. Like a monkey, constantly jumping from tree to tree, the mind moves from random thought to random thought. Through Zazen, we can learn to tame this manic mental chattering. If you're really having trouble quieting your monkey mind, you can try counting breaths. It's a simple game. Breathing in is 1. Breathing out, 2. Breathing in, 3. The only rule of the game is, if you have a stray thought like I'm hungry, you need to go back to 0. Start from the beginning. Let's try again.
Incanto, incanto, c'è l'angelo santo, lo Padre, lo Figlio e lo Spirito Santo.
I'm only half serious with these X's and things. You shouldn't get discouraged. Failing like this is actually the practice. Most people feel like they're in the driver's seat of their mind, directing it where they want it to go. But just a few minutes of Zazen will show you that your mind does its own thing. It goes all over the place without your control. The mind is slippery. As soon as you say, don't think, more thoughts come in. In fact, don't think is a thought. We move through every day having these mini dialogues with ourselves over and over. When we see a homeless person talking to himself on the street, we say he's crazy. But the only difference between him and us is that we keep our mental chatter locked up inside our skulls. This is the gift of meditation. You learn you are not your thoughts. You can imagine that thoughts are like clouds, ephemeral, made of nothing, constantly shifting, changing shapes. But behind the clouds, always there, is the sky, clear, radiant. We also have a deep purity that's obscured by our everyday thinking mind. At times you'll get a glimpse of this purity and feel something like this. Other times you'll be so trapped inside your thoughts it'll feel like this. But you shouldn't get too wrapped up in these highs and lows. In fact, 90% of the time, your Zazen will be like this. Yes, Zazen is boring, but it's also one of the greatest adventures of a human experience.